This is part of my series on formal elements, and today I'm going to talk about colour and use of colour in different artwork using different materials. Okay, so to begin with, then there's a colour wheel here, and there are three primary colours: red, yellow, and blue, and then you get the secondary colours, so like a purple, orange, and green, and then you've got your tertiary colours, which you can see have a like a tonal value of each on either side. It's always good exercise to do a colour wheel. This was done quite a long time ago, to be fair, so yeah, if I were to do that now, this purple would be slightly more purple, that green might be slightly darker. Okay, but it's good to know the colour wheel and colour theory, and why it's important. And then once you know what to do and how to use colour in the traditional way, then you can have fun with it and break the rules as well. Okay, so I've got a couple of examples then where I've used complementary colours, which are opposite colours. So you have red and green are complementary colours, yellow and purple are complementary, and then blue and orange are also complementary. So I've got a few things where I've used complementary colours, and then other images where I've used the colours that sort of blend together, really, sort of around the edge of this colour wheel. Okay, so this image first then. This was a watercolour butterfly, and I put some water down first for this image, and then just literally drop some colour from the brush into certain areas. And this is more to do with it doesn't sort of follow the rules here, um, because I've got blues and the pinks and the reds together and the yellows together. But in terms of those colours and that technique, it suits the idea of wings on the butterfly. Had I used opposing colours, then it may not have gone quite so well for that particular image. I then took this and had a go on fabric. It wasn't quite so successful on the fabric, I don't think. You haven't got the vibrancy of the colours on here, but maybe it's because I chose a colour that's there already. Had it been on a white fabric, then that may have been slightly better. Okay, but you know, I've tried different things really on here. This is a stitched image, where I've broken all of the rules of colour. Um, the tree and the water, the bird's water feeder, are in pink and purple. Okay, maybe the cat would be brown, but you know, I've tried to sort of have a bit of fun with colour on here and a little bit of tone in the tree there. And it's quite nice because it's on a plain background. It took me ages, took a while back, to be fair. Okay, so here again, I've looked at complementary colours. All of these three images are to do with complementary colours. So I've sort of gone purple. It started off yellow. I sort of went a little bit orange, really. But this character, this was at Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery. It was a character there that I found, and the yellow wasn't working really. So I changed my mind about the sort of colours that I wanted to use. Again, this is more to do with colours that sort of blend together, really. There aren't any definite contrasts there. They're sort of browns and reds and yellows and that sort of colourway. And then this one, there are more blues and greens. So it's sort of working with tones and colours that sort of blend together. This is Debbie Harry from quite a while back, and I quite like the idea of I was doing exercises on complementary colours, so with the blue and the orange, and I wanted to use different tones as well. So I quite like the way this turned out. There are certain areas I would do slightly differently. I mean, you can see some pencil marks in there, but I was quite pleased with the colour. Um, composition really. Colour as well. Sometimes you may create an image without thinking about the background. Lots of people think, I know what I want to do, I know what I want to draw, and then it's done and it's painted and it's there and it's fabulous. Oh, what colour shall I use for the background? And that question comes up quite a lot. Same here. I didn't know. I tried yellow and I quite liked it. It brought the image forward, so I thought that worked quite well in that particular image. Okay, this one, yeah, not happy with these at all. What I was trying to do here, you can probably see lots of contrasting, complementary that were that just didn't go together. This is not good. The background not particularly good. Red and green here, orange and sorry, purple and the yellow there. I wasn't particularly pleased with this, but again, it's an exercise in using colour. It hasn't found its way out of my sketchbook, so it's fine. Have a go. Some things will work, some things won't. Inspired by that, a few years later I thought, right, I'm going to do something more realistic. I'm going to paint a more realistic portrait. So this is what I did, and I tried out my colours first, the sort of colourways that I wanted to use. So I looked at the photograph and decided, right, some of these colours are going to be quite useful. And so this was the outcome. This is actually a photocopy of the painting, but I'm quite pleased with this. It could do with a bit more definition in certain areas, but in terms of use of colour to create a more realistic outcome, I was more pleased with this one, and the use of colour and sort of tonal areas as well around there. So that worked out well for me. This one again, this is an exercise in using colours that sort of are similar sort of colourways. They're all very natural, pale sort of peaches and yellows and creams, and just a slight sort of pink in the centre there. And again, it was an exercise in mixing colour to create a 3D effect really and an atmosphere. That was in watercolours. The previous one was acrylic paint. Acrylic paint arguably slightly easier to work with in terms of mixing and getting the exact colours that you want. It is for me anyway. Right, now the final one, I couldn't go without talking about colour that represents certain characters or certain images that people will recognise. So if you see red and a little bit of black and then a tiny little bit of blue, then you sort of think about Spider-Man, don't you, in this sort of image. So again, this is something I created a few years ago. I can't remember this geezer's name at the moment. I'm sure my son will know. But the idea was just to capture character through use of colour to represent what they look like and who they are in a recognisable way. Once again, I did the figures. I painted the building, and then I thought, oh, what will suit the background? What's going to look good? And it needed to be something fairly pale to bring these figures forward. And I think that I got the background okay. I think had I put a yellow here, like the previous one of Debbie Harry, then I think these images would have disappeared into the colour. I think this pale blue sort of, just worked well for this image. Okay, so use of colour, experiment with use of colour in an abstract way as well as trying to represent something. Just have fun with colour and see where it takes you.